Hello and welcome back to the weekly video show. I'm Natalie Brin. I've been a piano teacher for over 22 years and I'm also the creator of the Piano with Ease method, which helps busy adults quickly and easily learn to play the piano without the years of frustration from having to learn to read traditional sheet music first. Today's video is called Overcome Someday Part 1. This video is close to my heart because when adults put off playing the piano until someday, it sadly means that they will probably never play, which means their piano dream dies. And I don't want you to fall into that category. So this video is to offer you an invitation, a new way to think about learning piano so that new possibilities can open up for you. Here's a question for you. Have you ever said any of the following statements? Maybe I'll finally have time to play the piano when I retire, or when I change jobs, or when the kids get older, or when I get a better piano, or whenever I get done with whatever project, or when I have more energy. When this is happening, it's usually because playing the piano is viewed as this big undertaking or project, so your brain naturally wants to put it off until a time when you're likely to be successful and not fail, until this magical someday when you'll supposedly have all this time. But by thinking of piano as one enormous project, which you either have to fit in all right away or save it all until later, that is all or nothing thinking, and it can kill your dream before it can even begin. Because suddenly having all this open free time in life is very unlikely. So in order to believe that you can really succeed at learning to play the piano now, you have to believe that the way you're learning piano can in fact allow you to learn little by little, and you have to believe that you can do it and fit it in the pockets of time that you have now. Our Overcome Someday video is going to be in two parts. Part 1, this week's video show, is going to highlight a way that you can learn that hopefully will make you see that you can play earlier than you thought. And for Part 2, next week, we will talk about how and when you can find and create your small pockets of time so that by this time next year you can be amazed at how far you've come into playing the piano. So what is a way that you can play the piano which can allow you to succeed even with limited time? Here I'll be covering some points from a guide I created called 10 Easy Solutions for Busy Adults to Finally Learn to Play the Piano. So in order to overcome someday, today we'll be talking about your music. You can have everything else set up right, but if the way you are learning your piano music is slow going or not sticking, then your limited piano time will be spent reviewing instead of actually playing. Let's change that. So we'll be covering some things that if you actually have them on your music itself, then it can help your chances of succeeding go way up and help you play many more songs in much less time. The first way is to have less to memorize on your music itself. And if you've already started learning piano, a good question to ask yourself is, are you able to play through the song you are learning, or at least part of that song, easily and confidently in just a few minutes? If not, if you are struggling through your music slowly, and if you're not confident that you are playing everything correctly, then it probably means that it is taking you too long to read the notes and to find the correct notes on the piano. So why not take yourself off the hook and use music that already shows the letter name inside the note head? For example, this is a Piano with Ease sheet of music, and you can see that in every single note you can see exactly what letter you're playing on the piano. And there are other options out there that I've seen on sheet music sites that also show the letter name inside the note head. This allows you to make your way through a song so much faster. Now some of you might be saying right now, yeah, but I want to be able to read the actual music. That is a lovely goal, but if you could do it, you would already be doing it. That's a deep thought by me. You have to be realistic and not underestimate the time that you'll have to invest in order to read traditional sheet music quickly and easily, and accept that if you have limited time to practice, it's probably going to feel like a long, slow road. So just know that and own that if you are determined to read sheet music. The reward will be there at the end, but if you want to just be able to get in and play more songs in less time, then having the notes right inside the note head saves you a lot of time. The second way to learn piano much faster is to use chords in the left hand instead of having to read the individual left hand notes. And again, if you've already started learning the piano, the question to ask yourself here is, are you able to read through and play your left hand part easily and confidently, especially when you put both hands together? If not, then it probably means it is taking you too long to find and process and then play all the bass clef notes. So why not use left-hand chords instead, eliminating the need to have to read the left-hand part? This can make the difference between learning a ton of songs this year or learning just a few, because a lot of adult piano players get stuck zeroing in on individual notes without realizing that what they are actually playing is just a few chords or chord patterns throughout their song. And in most songs out there, there's only a few chords used per song. So once you learn some chords and chord patterns, then those same chords are used across thousands of songs, so it opens up a lot to you. Now this is how I show the chords in Piano with Ease music. I put them underneath the right hand as red letters. Like we have our C chords and our E minor chords. And a lot of other sheet music out there does show the chords, they just put it on the top of the music like this. Right here at the top is when you would play the chord in the song. And the great thing about chords is you can play them as the simplest of block chords like this. Or you can add in a pattern. Or you can even add in an elaborate pattern once you get a little more practice. So see how learning chords can build upon itself. The third solution to do with your music is use consistent fingering. Are you using the same fingering every single time you play a specific song? This is the way to learn songs faster because it builds muscle memory. Your fingers learn a specific order to play in, they get used to it, they learn how far to do their mini reaches. If you don't use the same fingering each time, then mastering a song will likely be difficult since the brain always has to keep some attention on planning which finger to use, which can create hesitation and pausing in your music. So choose music that makes it very clear which finger should be used for every single note. And of course, I have every single finger marked in my Piano with Ease music, but I know there are other songs out there that do as well. Or they'll make it clear on the music which finger starts, and they'll put a new finger number every time you're meant to stretch or change or cross or something. So make sure you can follow along and know exactly which finger you're supposed to be using. Write it in on every note if it helps you to be consistent. And here's a quick story to illustrate why that's important. In my one-on-one studio, I had a teenager who had already memorized several songs, but he started insisting that on his next song, he be able to choose whichever finger he wanted at the moment he felt like it. He wanted to trust it to his memory. So as an experiment, I let him do that in the song. The song actually took twice as long to learn as all his other songs, and he had moments of hesitation and pausing that he could never quite get rid of. And after a while, he just got frustrated and tossed that song, and he moved on to doing the next song with a pre-planned fingering again because he learned why it was important. The next solution is to use song recordings. In this day and age, we are very, very lucky that we have the internet, and there is often a way to hear the exact song recording of the sheet music that we're trying to learn. It's actually only been in this last generation where we've had song recordings right at our fingertips and so immediately. When I was a kid, I had to get the cassette tape recording of a song and play it and pause it near the piano and sit there and try and learn from it. Or you had to be able to read the exact rhythm from a page to know exactly how a song was meant to sound, which takes a lot of years of investing into reading traditional sheet music, usually paying a teacher to be able to help you know those exact rhythms and how they should sound. So nowadays there are a lot more options where you can get in and learn tons of songs without necessarily needing to pay a teacher every time you want to make progress. In my private studio, the students that were able to hear the song recordings and in fact listen to them often always did much better and progressed much faster than the students who would just start a new song not really knowing and being clear with how it's supposed to sound. In my Piano with Ease course and membership, I always have a recording of songs at regular speed with a metronome in the background and at slower speed because it's so helpful for students to be able to play along with one hand at a time, get really used to the part, and then put hands together. What the recordings do, especially if you don't have a teacher and you're trying to learn on your own, is they will show you your weak spots. They'll show you the parts where a teacher usually says, stop, we need to work on that rhythm right there. We need to get it tight. If you're playing along with the recording and there is a specific place that you always get behind, that is a clue to you to pause on that place and keep rewinding your recording just a little bit. Do it again and again and again and see what's stopping you. And that is the mini spot that you will know you need to do the work until you can fluently play along with the recording. Once you can do both hands great with the recording, then you can start putting hands together with the recording. You can try slowing down a YouTube recording, but it does sound like your piano gets a little off or sounds like it's in a tin can, but you can try that. And that, my friends, is 4 ways that you can learn piano music much faster if you have it literally on your music, or in the case of the recording, along with your music. So a quick recap: have less to memorize by having the actual letter names inside the notes. Use chords in the left hand instead of having to read each individual left hand note. Use consistent fingering every time you play a specific song, and utilize song recordings. If you want to try a song in the Piano with Ease style, then you can find the link beneath this video to try a Piano with Ease song for free. And tune in next week where we'll be talking about how to fit in these pockets of time to learn piano, even if you are extremely busy in life, so it doesn't have to become something you feel like you have to put the whole thing off until you retire or decades later. Thank you for watching.